No one warns you that awakening can feel like losing your place in the world. Not loneliness as no friends, but loneliness as I don't fit the old version of my life. A fictional composite case, let's call him Alex. Alex didn't become dramatic. He didn't make speeches. He didn't start posting manifestos. He didn't blow up his life in one loud moment that would give everyone a simple story to repeat. He became quiet. Not cold, not cruel, just quieter. Like someone who stopped competing for a seat at a table that was never really his. He stopped laughing at jokes he used to force. The kind of laugh that was really a reflex, a social currency, a little payment to stay included. He stopped nodding along to conversations that drained him, but once felt easier than standing out. He stopped explaining himself, not out of arrogance, but out of exhaustion. And for the first time, he noticed how often he performed. Not in a theatrical way, in the subtle, everyday way. The way he softened his opinions so they'd be easier to swallow. The way he edited his truth into something reasonable. The way he learned to be agreeable before he learned to be honest. He started seeing the invisible choreography he'd been doing for years. How to respond fast enough. How to keep things light. How to be fine. How to be liked. Because being liked can become a job. And some people are so good at that job, they forget it was ever work. From the outside, people called it distance. They said, "You've changed." They said, "You're not as fun anymore." They said, "Where have you been?" They said it with concern or annoyance, or the kind of casual judgment that disguises itself as a question. But it wasn't distance. It was honesty. The kind of honesty that doesn't announce itself. The kind that simply stops pretending. And that's why it can look like withdrawal. Because when you stop performing, you stop providing the version of you that everyone got used to. Awakening doesn't always arrive as a revelation. Sometimes it arrives as a discomfort you can no longer sedate. A tiny pause before you say yes. A silence where you used to laugh. A moment where your body says quietly, "I don't want this." And once you notice that, you can't unnotice it. Alex began catching himself mid-performance, mid-smile, mid-agreement, mid-sure, whatever you want. He'd feel the old impulse to comply, to smooth the moment over, to keep the peace, to stay in rhythm with everyone else. And then he'd feel something newer underneath it. A refusal that wasn't angry. A refusal that was simply real. That's the part nobody prepares you for. Honesty can feel like grief, because it separates you from the life you used to totalitarian. It separates you from friendships that were built on you being agreeable. From rooms where you belonged only as long as you stayed the same. From patterns that were familiar, even if they were suffocating. And it can be confusing, because nothing bad happened. There was no betrayal you can point to. No dramatic breakup. No obvious villain. Just the slow realization that you've been living in a way that costs you. And once you see the cost, you stop paying it. But that decision has consequences. Sometimes people don't miss you. They miss the role you played. They miss the version of you who laughed on cue. The version of you who didn't make things complicated. The version of you who could be counted on to absorb discomfort so nobody else had to. So when Alex grew quiet, it unsettled them. Because his silence was a mirror, and mirrors make people nervous. This is a very specific kind of loneliness. Not I have no one, but I'm surrounded, and still I don't belong to the old script. It's the loneliness of outgrowing your own life, of realising the community you had was, in some ways, a contract, unspoken but real. I will stay familiar, and you will keep me included. Awakening tears up that contract, not with rage, with clarity. And clarity can be brutal, because clarity doesn't always give you a new home right away. Sometimes it just makes the old one unlivable. So you grieve. You grieve the ease of being effortless. You grieve the comfort of not questioning. You grieve the version of yourself who could tolerate what you can't correlate anymore. You grieve the friends you still care about, even as you realise you can't keep meeting them in the same place. You grieve the old laughter, even if it was forced. You grieve the identity that made sense in that world. And in the middle of that grief, you may look like you're pulling away. But what's really happening is simpler. You're coming back to yourself. Awakening is not always a sunrise. Sometimes it's a funeral. A quiet one. No flowers, no speeches. Just a private goodbye to the person you had to be to survive. And if you're in that season, if you feel that strange, aching honesty that makes you feel displaced, there is nothing wrong with you. You are not too sensitive. You are not overthinking. You are not becoming distant. You are becoming real. And yes, realness can feel lonely at first, because it's the gap between who you were and who you're becoming. The space where the old version of your life no longer fits and the new one hasn't fully formed. But that gap is not emptiness. It's transition. It's the place where performance ends and life finally begins.